The battlefields of Ukraine are alight. Russia continues to advance across the Lugansk steppes on the far northern frontier of the front line. Meanwhile, Ukraine has launched a desperate assault to force Russian paratroopers and Chechen Akhmat special forces out of the towns of Klishivka and Andriivka on the southern flank of Bakhmut. All this and more in today's Frontline Report. The Russian offensive in the Lugansk region continues. We have reports of offensive actions in several areas, starting once again with the forest to the north of Kupiansk, where there are claims of Russian assault troops attempting to expand further to the south. Some sources are claiming that they have advanced up to 1 kilometer, but so far there is no evidence and little mapping to suggest that Russian forces have big successes in this sector. I maintain my opinion that Russia is placing pressure in this area among several others in order to redirect Ukrainian resources away from the main breakthroughs in the south. In the areas of the Zhrebets bridgehead, the Russian spearhead has once again expanded into another large area to the west and has now captured 3 small farming settlements. But before we get into the details of that, if you like this type of independent open source reporting, please consider hitting both the like and subscribe buttons, actions that are totally free for you to do but are a big help for me to grow the channel. Lately my videos are being targeted with limited or no ads along with limited reach, so please consider hitting the bell icon so you do not miss the next update. Also, a quick shout out to those of you who have donated to the channel via the super chat feature on the last 2 videos. The support is very appreciated. Yesterday we spoke about the Russian capture of the 2 small farming settlements of Sergivka and Novojegorovka, along with information that Russian troops were assaulting Navia and Tverdok-Lebove. It appears like in the case of Tverdok, Ukraine managed to get somewhat organized and prevent the Russians from advancing further. Unfortunately for the Ukrainian lines to the north, the Russian assault took a turn in that direction and captured the small settlement of Nadia, along with achieving a breakthrough in the fields to the west of the settlement. Russian forces are now rapidly approaching the town of Perestrovneve, which contains a key crossroads and will allow Russian armored formations access to key road and logistical networks. It is true that so far the settlements Russia has seized are very small, with pre-war populations in the dozens of people, but if Pereshov is seized, then it will be the largest town captured since Russia started their offensive a week ago. This information is being confirmed by multiple sources on both the Russian and Ukrainian side, with the most notable being the strongly pro-Ukrainian Deep State UA channel and map confirming the Russian advance. Over the last few days, Russia has managed to make steady gains, nearly doubling the amount of captured territory each day, and a very troubling development for Ukrainian forces in the region. Ukraine has clearly not yet gained control of the situation at this point. It seems likely that the Russian salient is not yet done expanding. Frontline assault forces in some areas are mere meters away from reaching the administrative border of the Lugansk Oblast, which at one point last year they had entirely occupied. In the area of the Kreminna Forest, we have received information that Russian paratroopers have continued their advance. This information was accompanied with footage of Russian VDV units present at recently captured Ukrainian fortifications and entrenched positions, but similar to the Kupiansk area, I do not have confirmation of where exactly these gains were made, and I cannot geolocate them on the map. In the Bakhmut environment, the situation is very tense. All day long, a pitched battle has been taking place. The day started with pro-Ukrainian sources claiming the capture of Andriivka along with the imminent retreat of Russian troops from the town of Klishivka. The footage on the front line coming from both sides indicates an extremely bloody struggle, with Ukrainian forces being led by elite Azov troops and the Russian forces consisting of VDV paratroopers and Chechen Akhmat special forces units. Initially, the claims from pro-Russian sources were that the Russian troops were fighting at an artillery disadvantage, along with a complete lack of air support. This information, along with the fact that Ukraine occupies the high ground over the town, seems to suggest that it is only a matter of time before Klishchiivka falls back into Ukrainian hands. However, at least as of the recording of this video, that moment has not yet come. Pro-Ukrainian Deep State UA reports that information about Russian withdrawal from positions around Andriivka turned into a rumor that Andriivka had in fact fallen. But this is not yet the case, and when it happens, they will announce it on their channels. They also claim that Russia continues to send reinforcements to both towns in a desperate struggle to hold on. From the pro-Russian channels, some of these facts appear to match up. Russia has been conducting precision strikes on Ukrainian artillery in the Bakhmut area, likely in an attempt to relieve some of the fire pressure on their forces. It is unclear what the current situation with artillery and air support is for either side, but the most recent claims from Russian sources is that reinforcements have arrived and Russia has begun a counterattack across the front and has managed to recapture some ground south of town. The counterattack claims themselves are confirmed by Deep State UA. So currently what we can say based on the claims from the most reliable propaganda channels on both sides is that both Andriivka and Klishchiivka remain under Russian control as of the making of this video. Yet Ukraine retains a foothold on several of the streets in the southern leg of Klishchiivka. Russia is counterattacking and both sides have sustained very heavy losses. Finally, on the southern front, we do have information of continued fighting in the areas of the Ukrainian Zaporozhye offensive. Ukraine is assaulting Russian positions south of Velika Novosilka once again, but we have no reports of any gains made or what the ultimate outcome of those assaults are. In the fields north of Zhrebets, Ukraine continues to launch tank assaults on Russian lines, but there is no mappable gains and no indication of a breakthrough as of the making of this video. That is all from me today. Once again, thank you all for joining, and until next time.